kind of feels like an NFL draft trade. Like all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we're the New Orleans Saints have traded WrestleMania 42 for an undisclosed WrestleMania in the future and the Money in the Bank 2026.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on in to the Takedown Discussions right here on the Takedown on SI YouTube channel. I'm Zack Heydorn with Rick Ucchino. Rick, hope you didn't have your New Orleans plane ticket already booked, my friend, for WrestleMania because plans change, brother.
Yeah, not usually this late in the game.
No.
Luckily, this is one of the years where I just happen to be behind the ball on things. Like I remember like the day that they announced that Las Vegas was going to be the host last year for WrestleMania. Like I went online and I found like my hotel and got everything set up as quickly as possible. Luckily I'm behind on booking the stuff to New Orleans because I guess nobody is going to New Orleans. This was news that was broken exclusively by WrestleNomics yesterday, Thursday afternoon, that after it was announced by The Rock in February in New Orleans that WWE WrestleMania 42 would be in the Big Easy, the Sports Commission sent a statement to WrestleNomics that said, nope, that is not happening. WrestleMania 42 will not be in New Orleans. And as part of a larger deal, that's how it was described by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com, who was able to corroborate that report later on. This is part of a larger deal that is going to see New Orleans get a future WrestleMania plus Money in the Bank 2026. So now we know where Money in the Bank is going to be next year. It's going to be in New Orleans. So that's good for them. Kind of feels like an NFL draft trade. Like all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we're the New Orleans Saints have traded WrestleMania 42 for an undisclosed WrestleMania in the future and the Money in the Bank 2026. The question is, who the hell is getting WrestleMania 42?
Right.
That because it is, as of today, May 23rd. We are 10 months out, 11 months out. It's supposed to be April 11th and 12th. Maybe that's the day. Maybe it's not. Maybe they push it off a little bit later. But this is incredibly interesting because you got to think about it here. It's not just WrestleMania that comes to these cities.
Right.
It's not just the stadiums that are involved with this. It's not just the ticket sales. It's WrestleCon. It's all the other promotions. Like there is a massive trickle-down effect to this for the entire wrestling industry because everybody swarms in from the pro wrestling world on WrestleMania weekend. And you already had people, guarantee you already had fans, probably had media members, probably had other wrestling entities that were making their plans to head to New Orleans who are now going, what the hell, man? What are we doing here? This is very strange, very weird.
It's really strange. And even if you take all that stuff out of it, I think it's strange for a couple other reasons. One being, you just don't see this type of thing from WWE much at all on two levels. First one being, they plan WrestleManias years in advance. Like even if they don't announce it, they're planning years in advance for these venues and working hard with those host cities for a good reason, right? I mean, you've got a ton of people there for that, and they sell that now, and that's part of it. So to not be buttoned up and have that finalized at this point is a surprise. The other surprise is that WWE as the company is not the one pushing this out. This is not an announcement from WWE PR. Hey, WrestleMania 42 is moving to XYZ place. Like this is from the city. They being WWE are not in control of this narrative right now. And that is also surprising because they normally have their hands all over messaging around this type of corporate business stuff, which is what this is. So I find that to be very fascinating. I also find the wording used there's an article on NOLA.com right now. And the wording used in the first paragraph in the lead of this is World Wrestling Entertainment has canceled the WrestleMania event that was scheduled to be held in New Orleans in April 2026, leaving a big hole in the city's hospitality calendar next year. city tourism official said on Thursday. Like that's not a friendly like that's not a, hey, we're not getting it this year, but we're really, really happy with our partnership moving forward. Like that's not that. They might be, but that to me is a little bit of that's a stinging response to this.
But that's also the publication that's doing that. Not
yes, the publication. 100%.
The publication is saying that, because if you read the actual statement, and I can pull it up.
Yeah,
here.
I have it here too if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, the actual statement from the Sports Commission, since you already have it, it is very much more of a collaborative thing, where it feels more like, and this is what Sean Rossap laid out in his report, was this felt more like a deal that makes sense for the city in the long run, where they're not just getting one major event, but they're getting two, kind of a la what Indianapolis did, where they came out and they've said, hey, we're getting the 2026 Royal Rumble. We know that, but we're also getting WrestleMania down the line. We're also going to get SummerSlam down the line as well.
Yeah, exactly. And this statement, sounds like that. It says here, Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation said in a joint statement with New Orleans and Company that they're working with TKO to, quote, expand our long-standing partnership through a multi-event, multi-year agreement, which will include UFC 318 on July 19th, 2025, this year, Money in the Bank in 2026, and WrestleMania, but there's no firm date on what that future WrestleMania is. GNOSF and New Orleans said they couldn't comment on why the event in New Orleans was canceled. So to your point, like the positive spin on this for New Orleans is where we're getting like 3 events, so
yeah. Well, and here's the other thing, like they do have a long-standing relationship.
Yeah.
The Superdome has hosted multiple WrestleManias within the last 15 years, right? Well, it was WrestleMania 30, and then they went back to WrestleMania 34.
30 and 34, yeah.
Yeah, memory serves correct, right? So, like, it's been a minute by those standards, but there's still going to be a working relationship with the city of New Orleans. Like, I don't feel like I can't speak as to what the why is for this. But it definitely does feel strange. You know what this feels like? This feels like last year's WrestleMania. You remember last year's WrestleMania where all the rumors and everything were circling around Minneapolis. Oh, it's going to be in Minneapolis. We're just waiting for the final, the actual announcement to come. City Council in Minneapolis, they've been working with this. It's going to be Minneapolis. It's going to be Minneapolis. And then it was like, oh, no, we're going to Las Vegas. Minneapolis, you're getting a 2-night SummerSlam in 2026. So here's we already know where Money in the Bank and SummerSlam are going to be next year, but we don't know where WrestleMania is going to be.
It is fascinating. And here's the other thing, like, and this is not me breaking news. This is just kind of just reading the story and reacting to it. But it just seems to me that, like, unless WWE got a very, very hefty raise for WrestleMania 42.
Somebody made them a Godfather offer. That's what this feels like.
That's what this feels like. It's like, because they're not going to like blow up this whole thing unless it's really, really beneficial for them to do so financially. And so it must have been, whether it's whatever city has it at this point, it had to be just a sweetheart offer, man.
So let's address the concerns of many. Let's go ahead and address the concerns of many, because you say that. All right, well, money talks, right?
Money. Yeah.
We know who has a lot of money.
We do.
Do we think this is purely speculative here? Okay, we're not reporting anything. This is on the spec. Do we think Saudi Arabia is in play for WrestleMania next year? Saudi Arabia already has the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
next year.
That's why I would say, if there was a reason to not worry about WrestleMania being in Saudi Arabia, it's because the Royal Rumble is already going to be there next year. I don't know that they would go back just 4 months later, but they love that Saudi Arabia money, man, and it talks loud. So you can't take it off the table, unfortunately. You just can't. It's just there's so much of it.
No, but that would be a massive PR hit.
Yeah,
for them. I mean, they wouldn't have to worry about really ticket sales or anything because, like, the money, everything that they were going to get, from that, people are going to come out to the show. But I mean, it is a giant middle finger to most of your audience, to a lot of your fans who come out to these WrestleManias every single year. You have this great relationship. Now they do own, TKO does own On Location now, but I mean, I did a whole piece, talked to a lot of people with On Location about the fan engagement and the packages that they offer. They're pretty petty, but I mean, they put a lot of work in a year in advance to make ultimate destination, WrestleMania experiences for these diehard fan bases. It's a middle finger to them to take WrestleMania over to Saudi Arabia, where more often than not, they probably are not going to be able to, or maybe not even want to take part in something over there like that. So
I just think like it would be, I don't know, you'd have similar issues. Like not similar in like, because it's Saudi Arabia, that obviously opens up a different can of worms, different type of conversation. However, an international, WrestleMania in London or something like that, would play better than Saudi Arabia. But I still think there would be some element of, you're just not going to get as many people traveling around for that. I don't think, like, it's a big ask to go to go to London on 10 months notice, or like 9 months notice. Like that's a heavy lift for people.
I mean, some people like myself would have to get a passport. Like, I feel
like right. I mean, you have
apply. Yeah. I feel like I need to go ahead and apply as soon as we're done recording this episode, which, by the way, we're recording this at 5:00 Thursday evening. This, show every week comes out at 9 a.m. So, we're taking a risk here that more information is not going to come out between now and then. Otherwise this entire show might be cooked. But, like, yeah, there's a lot of the red tape that people would have to clear up, right? Some logistical things that people would have to clear up. But we know London has been desperate, and we know the mayor there has been talking. And if they ponied up,
get that check.
I'll say this much: it's a lot easier to get to London than it is to Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
If you want to travel, particularly if you're on the East Coast, even if you're in Chicago or Cincinnati, like we are. So, it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be the worst thing if it was London, because that atmosphere for the show alone would be insane. Insane. Even if it would be a little bit harder to get to the show.
Do you want to touch on what this NOLA.com article suggests is the location for WrestleMania 42?
Well, I think it's an option, right? I think it's definitely an option. Based off of the NOLA.com article, which was, again, more scathing toward WWE than maybe the Sports Commission would say. It cited an industry source, I believe is what it was. Like
industry
source, something like that. Said the WWE was heading back to Las Vegas next year. I definitely think that that's a possibility. Because as the second that Las Vegas, the week's festivities were over this year, you had reports coming out that Nick Khan, who's a big fan of Las Vegas, was wanting to take this show back there within the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was some kind of hang up with the New Orleans deal, if there was something that they did not like about it, if the timing didn't match up, whatever it was that decided to make them backtrack on this, it would not surprise me at all if they were like, if Nick Khan called his folks up in Las Vegas and said, hey, you want to run this thing back?
Yeah. And being in Vegas, like, for that, and I was there 4 days, like, just the money being tossed around that city. I don't know what the numbers are, obviously, like, in terms of what the economic impact was, but it had to be massive. I mean, it just was a constant stream of wrestling fans in restaurants, in bars, at clubs, at casinos, at special events, blackjack table. Like, it was crazy. Like, so seeing it in action, you're like, man, maybe they did say, hey, come back and we're going to give you, 10 times what New Orleans is giving.
Man, personally, that's going to be another big bite out of my ass. I'm not going back for 8 days this time. I'm not doing it.
Don't go back for 8 days.
Not doing it. I'm not doing it. I will go for 4, maybe 5.
4 was the sweet spot. Although even at 4, I was ready to get the hell out of there fast. So
I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk my buddy into going back this year. He lost his ass out there. Well, I was working for 6 of the 8 days. He was just gambling for 8 days.
That is never a good idea.
It did not go well for him. A couple other quick options here. And again, this is just totally me speculating. Maybe they speed up the timetable with Indianapolis. They could announce Indianapolis next year. That would be great for me. That'd be great for you, both of us, Midwest guys.
Driving distance.
Easy drive. I could go home right after the show is over each night. No problems. Done. Indianapolis wouldn't be a shocker to me. Maybe another city that they have a really good relationship with. A city like Atlanta. A city like, hell, even Chicago. When's the last big major WWE Chicago pay-per-view there's been?
The thing with Chicago is there's nowhere to have it. We don't have, unless you're going to do Soldier Field, but it's
Soldier Field sucks, doesn't it? Yeah.
It sucks. And that would, oh God.
And that's the other thing, because Nick Khan said no cold weather stadiums anymore.
Yeah. So
no cold weather cities, period. Unless there's a dome on it. And Soldier Field doesn't have a dome anymore.
No dome. No dome. So maybe by 2030 when they have a new stadium here.
So I would say, just me, if you're asking me to handicap this thing, I would say London. I would say Atlanta, Saudi Arabia, behind Las Vegas. I would not be surprised if it's back in Las Vegas next year.
Yeah. That's how I'd put it too. I think all those options are good ones.
Now, Saudi Arabia is not a good option, but it's an option.
No.
It's an option.
Mark for edit. I did not mean that. I just meant that they're reasonable. If you're looking at the landscape and you're going, where could they go? I mean, you got to put Saudi Arabia on the list, unfortunately. But I think even that is still a second to Vegas. They got the money, man. Nick Khan wants that money. All right, guys. Hey, look, we just dropped a whole bunch of great content on the channel. You can right now check out a preview for Saturday night's main event. You can check out a preview for Double or Nothing. That's going to be up as well. Don't miss that. It's me, it's Rick, it's SP3 running down all the matches on Double or Nothing, predictions, analysis. We also have a host of new interviews, including Samoa Joe, including Carmella, including the LFG winners from this past week. It's a really great time to check out the content on the channel. Hit subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. It helps us out a ton. Any final words, Rick?
John Alba talked to Willow Nightingale. That is up.
Yes, John Alba. I knew I was forgetting one.
All right, I was waiting for you to say it. I'm like,
no.
That's the newest one we just dropped. Willow Nightingale on the channel. She's wonderful. Check it out.
She's an awesome interview, so don't miss that out. But appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week with discussions right here in the Takedown on SI. See ya.